Hey there, fellow wanderers. Tonight we journey into the world of gladiators, a realm where the past still echoes with the roar of the crowd, and the air hums with tension, heat, and raw courage. Step into the Colosseum, feel the coarse sand beneath your feet. The sun beats down, the shadows stretch along towering stone walls. Every movement brings you closer to glory, or to the end. This isn't for the faint-hearted. There are no second chances, just armor, instinct, and the roar of thousands waiting to see who will fall. This isn't fantasy, this is history. And no, you probably wouldn't survive the arena. If stories like this stir something in you, like this video, subscribe and share where you're tuning in from and what time it is. Dim the lights. Let the fan hum like the crowd's breath. Let's begin. As you stand in the arena, look around at the diverse crowd filling the stands, eagerly anticipating the display of raw human prowess and the thin line between life and death that so vividly plays out before them. Imagine the anticipation, the way people from all walks of life came together to witness these orchestrated battles. It wasn't just about the violence, this was about culture, entertainment, and perhaps a cathartic release for the ordinary Roman citizen. Much like today's sports events, these games were immersive experiences designed to captivate an audience's attention from beginning to end. The thrill of anticipation, punctuated by the sights and sounds of raw energy, keeps the crowd in a reverent hush before the action explodes. As you navigate through this vivid scene, you meet a unique set of individuals. Some are hardened veterans, already etched into the annals of public admiration, while others are mere novices, thrust into the spotlight with little more than hope and determination to survive. Each gladiator's origin story is as varied as their combat style. Some were former slaves or prisoners of war, while others joined out of desperation or even ambition to achieve fame and fortune. Despite their differing paths into this life, they share a common bond: survival against the odds. Consider how these gladiators might prepare themselves mentally for the trials they face. Beyond their physical training, which we'll explore in depth soon, they needed a formidable mental fortitude. Entering the arena wasn't just about sheer strength or skill with a weapon, it was about mastering emotions and channeling them into survival. Gladiators had to overcome fear and embrace the reality of their situation, knowing that the crowd's favor could be just as pivotal to their survival as their sword. Within this community, stories and strategies were shared, and informal education passed down from veteran to newcomer, an oral tradition of survival in the face of adversity. Veterans might share tales of narrow escapes, hard-learned lessons about which opponents fought with a deceptive feint, or who thrived by playing to the audience for mercy. And amidst these exchanges, there's no shortage of humor. Even in the darkest of circumstances, laughter could be a potent medicine, a way to alleviate tension before the impending combat. Historians still argue whether the gladiators truly fought to the death as often as legend suggests, or if this is a construct of later fictional embellishments. Some suggest that the Romans, pragmatic in many regards, saw the value in keeping well-trained, costly gladiators alive for future spectacles. Like any good investment, a top gladiator could bring more entertainment and thus more money in the long term, provided they survived to fight another day. This brings to mind the duality of their existence. In an ironic twist, gladiators were simultaneously idolized and expendable, revered as celebrities in one moment and reduced to echoes of their former selves in the next. Reflect on the mental gymnastics required to reconcile your own identity in such a contradictory social fabric, living as both hero and spectacle, a vessel for society's complexities and desires. As thrilling as this existence might seem from a distance, the reality for many was harsh, unpredictable, and often brutally short. Survival in the Colosseum was no small feat, and demanded not just brute strength, but also wile, agility, and an intimate understanding of entertainment as a deadly form of art. The Colosseum itself, with its magnificent arches and intricate underground chambers, was a stage unlike any other, where the choreography was life or death. Turning your attention back to the arena, picture the intense preparation these warriors would undergo to ensure their survival. From meticulous training routines to preparing physically and mentally for combat, each day in a gladiator's life was layered with purpose and anticipation. Mastering a diverse arsenal of weapons and fighting styles, a gladiator needed to remain adaptable, drawing from experience and instinct to craft their narrative of survival. As we continue our journey tonight, we'll delve deeper into the world these combatants inhabited, revealing the secrets of their existence and the strategies they employed to remain one step ahead in the deadly dance of life and death. Keep the lights low and let your imagination roam through the ancient sands as we ease into the next chapter in the life of a gladiator. The morning sun spills over the horizon, casting a warm golden hue on the training complex as you contemplate the harsh routines that mold gladiators into formidable combatants. Here, the rhythmic clatter of wooden swords against shields forms a familiar soundtrack, a prelude to the real battles that lie ahead. Training for a gladiator begins at dawn, a regimented schedule demanding both body and mind to prepare for the diverse challenges they face. Imagine yourself at the crack of dawn, awakened not by a gentle alarm but by the sharp barks of commands echoing across the courtyard. You trudge out of your bunk, feeling the coolness of the morning air prickling against your skin. This is the start of a grueling day. The Lanista, that ever-vigilant taskmaster, surveys the proceedings, ensuring each gladiator adheres to the relentless training regimen needed to perfect their skills. The first priority is physical conditioning. Strength and stamina are paramount, since fights could range from brief skirmishes to extended battles, requiring you to be as fresh at the end as at the beginning. Your morning kicks off with running and calisthenics, where you're reminded that every ounce of strength could mean the difference between life and the sandy embrace of the arena floor. Alongside you, fellow gladiators grunt and heave, each entranced in their own world, battling internal fears as much as the external weights they lift. Mainstream historical accounts reveal that gladiators trained with wooden or blunted weapons, heavier than those used in actual combat. This ensured that they developed the necessary muscle strength and precision to wield real weapons with speed and accuracy. The clanging of wooden swords, meeting in choreographed duels, is relentless, a dance of movement that turns into muscle memory over time. Moving on from physical prowess, the next aspect of training hones the skills of armed combat. As you grip your practice sword, its familiar weight resting comfortably in your palm, you focus on your footwork. They say a gladiator's greatest weapon is their mind. You practice skirting to keep your opponent in front of you and minimize your own vulnerabilities. At times like these, you are reminded of how every brush with danger is accompanied by a twinge of excitement and terror. But tactics are not just about offense. They are equally about defense. Hours are spent with a shield raised to block incoming thrusts and slashes. The Lanista relentlessly shouts instructions, correcting posture and strategies. Your muscles echo the repetitive motions, conditioning you to perfection. For the cost of failure in this practice zone is far kinder than that in the arena. Historians still argue whether individualized training based on a gladiator's natural aptitudes was more effective than a one-size-fits-all approach. While some accounts speak of tailored regimens, enhancing specific skills, others suggest a more rigid format regardless of individual differences. Regardless, from the murmurs along the training field, it is clear. Excelling at one's designated style increases your chances of survival. Beyond the clashing of weapons and the pounding of feet on the ground, the training academy was also a school of strategy. You learn when to go for the kill, when to bide your time, and how to read your opponent's intentions, even from the subtle shifts in weight or stance. Equally important is mastering the art of showmanship. It's not just about survival, but about exciting the audience, winning their favor, and therefore the mercy they might sway in your direction. Break times offer brief respite and social interactions among your fellow gladiators. In these moments, swapping tales and techniques becomes a welcoming distraction. Humor often breaks out unexpectedly, a way to cope with the tension and bond over shared experiences. After all, who else but another gladiator truly understands the stakes of each upcoming combat? Merely surviving in this unforgiving regime is a feat of resilience, allowing no space for weakness or hesitation. Day after day, under the unyielding sun and the watchful eyes of the trainers, history chisels gladiators into living representations of strength and stoicism, a transformation visible to anyone observing from the sidelines. Imagine as the sun sets, bath time finally arrives. A communal activity often bathed in both actual water and good-natured ribbing. The cool water of a bath, cleansing away the grit and fears of the day, provides a much-anticipated relief. Here, gladiators briefly shed their battle skins, chatting about philosophies of combat and the quirks of the Lanista. their laughter echoing off the bathing chamber's walls. More than a place of muscle, this crucible has become a forge for character and camaraderie. As you hasten to wipe the water driblets from your skin and head to your evening meal, you know that the lessons of today, etched in fatigue and soreness, hold as much power as the blade at your side. As your head lowers to the pillow that night, fatigue washing over you, a part of you rehearses tomorrow's fighting patterns, sharpening mind and body alike. This world within the training confines is a paradox, a playground for warriors whose games become deadly reality. It's here you learn that survival is not merely about wielding a sword, but about crafting oneself into a living weapon, a testament to the determination and resilience that underscores the survival of every gladiator. As you move from the intense thrumming of the training grounds, it's time to delve into an aspect of gladiator life that might surprise you: the diet of champions. The modern idea of an athlete's diet might call to mind images of protein shakes, lean meats, and perhaps an energy bar or two. But in ancient Rome, the alimentary routine for gladiators painted a rather different picture. You step into the meshed aromas of the thriving kitchens, overrun with the sense of bread, beans, and barley mingling with fresh herbs. Picture yourself seated at the worn wooden tables, a bowl brimming with hearty fare placed before you. Gladiators predominantly consumed a vegetarian diet, rich in barley and beans, precisely chosen not only for nourishment, but also for the practical goal of creating a layer of fat. Yes, extra padding from carbohydrates wasn't about beachbody season, it was a surprisingly strategic advantage. That cushion potentially shielded vital organs from superficial cuts during battles, if not deep ones, leveling the odds of surviving a fight without fatal damage. The inclusion of beans and cereals was partly economic, an efficient way to bulk up the populace without incurring the costs of more expensive meats. This was a diet crafted to sustain high energy needs, comparable to the way modern carb-lugging aids endurance athletes. Throughout, the air resonates the melody of casual conversation, wooden spoons clinking against pottery, and the shared contentment of a meal after a day's labour. A quirky tidbit surrounds the supplement of choice, described by some sources as gladiator ash. Historians have suggested gladiators consumed a concoction likely derived from plants. Perhaps you picture a dusty pause in the diner's rhythm as this mystery ingredient is explained. The calcium and magnesium-rich concoction, something of an ancient Gatorade, might seem oddly rustic today, but was believed to help in bone fortification, essential when your line of work involved frequent impacts. The dietary habits also cultivated camaraderie. Mealtimes become another arena, a place to establish bonds and discuss practical battle advice over shared bowls. Imagine trading war stories under the flickering torchlight, garnished with spice and gesture, everyone contributing their part to the vibrant tapestry of gladiatorial life. Laughter punctuates the evening as a fellow fighter's exaggerated tale of victory draws knowing smiles from those who witnessed it firsthand. Interestingly, while mainstream historical accounts emphasize this vegetarian abundance, for scholarly debate about whether a more diverse diet was consumed outside of recorded training rations. Sources and remnants from digs aren't uniform, showing variability according to region and circumstance. Some historians argue whether feasts accompanying victories included luxury foods, reserved for rare celebratory occasions, glimpses of culinary indulgence, temporarily breaking the monotony. As dusk falls and the evening meal dwindles, your surroundings grow quieter, and thoughts drift towards the practical aspects of a gladiator's life. Managing sustenance was as much about survival as the fights themselves. Each bite you savor nourishes not just the body, but bolsters resolve and energy needed to tackle the challenges of another day. During lulls in conversation, the crackling of the fireside becomes a companion to wandering thoughts. You might envision how this diet didn't merely sustain gladiators physically, but became entwined with their identity. Through the constant rhythm of consumption and practice, gladiators transformed from obscure recruits into warriors, symbolized by resilience and endurance. The phrase barley men not only described their food source, but became a marker of their existence. Gladiators nourished for combat, molded by their consumption. Later, as the fire dims and the banter subsides, the kitchens gradually empty, the echoes of laughter fading into the quiet. It's easier now to appreciate how the cultivation of strength and vigor begins far from the clamor of the arena, forged in the quiet moments among friends, in the rituals of eating, in the harmony of a lifestyle designed for survival. Back to your quarters, you reflect on the mindful preparation of both body and spirit, knowing that each day molds both internal and external fortitude essential for gladiatorial endurance. In this embrace of daily sustenance, you continue to find the will to thrive when faced with challenges. This understanding, like the meals themselves, fortifies the gladiator spirit, a testament that survival is not just the domain of the arena, but is nourished, cultivated, and sustained in the mundane rhythm of belly, heart, and mind. Tomorrow awaits, with fresh battles and the promise sewn into every core of barley, carrying you forward into the ever-turning cycle of gladiatorial life. As the daily routine carries you through this world of gladiators, let's navigate the fascinating hierarchy within the arena, where the variety of gladiator types paints a broad picture of strategies, weaponry, and survival nuances. Imagine standing among the ranks, eyeing the distinct attire and weaponry that define your fellow fighters, each element hinting at their unique combat style and tactical role on the sandy stage. You find yourself walking alongside a Murmillo, his crested helmet casting a shadow that exaggerates his already imposing presence. Armed with a gladius and a large, stout shield, the Murmillo is comparable to a modern-day heavyweight boxer, relying on strength and a few well-aimed blows to overpower opponents. Watch as he practices calculated footwork, adjusting his fierce stance, ready to parry and strike with brutal efficiency. Not far off, a Secutor catches your eye. With a distinctive smooth helmet designed for evading nets and weaponry, this gladiator maintains focus on quick, relentless pursuit. Observe how he moves fluidly, shadowing his opponent with the kind of intensity that seems to close in like the walls of the Colosseum itself, turning defense into a swift, calculated offense. The Secutor's goal is to exploit fatigue, keeping up the chase until seizing victory. Amid these robust warriors glides the Retiarius, armed only with a net, trident, and a curious blend of cunning and agility. Against the well-armored Secutor, the Retiarius embodies the underdog. Relying on speed and strategy, he dances lightly across the sand, looking for the perfect moment to ensnare his opponent. Holding your breath as you see him spin the net with graceful precision, you realize how understanding the art of timing can turn the weakest weapon into a lethal advantage. Another type catches your attention, the Dimachirus, whose dexterous mastery with dual swords speaks volumes about the adaptability required in close combat. This gladiator's skill lies in creating a relentless flurry of attacks, overwhelming opponents by forcing them to defend multiple angles simultaneously. An impeccable display of coordination and speed, the Dimachirus exemplifies how twin blades serve as extensions of a more nimble and creative fighting style. Among the fierce gladiators is a formidable provocator, distinguished by his elaborate chest armor and helmet that only covers the upper half of his face. Utilizing heavier armor may slow him down, but it also provides crucial protection in engagements designed to test endurance and skill. Here you observe an alternative battlefield strategy. Where patience and defense outweigh aggression, these warriors wait for perfect opening, welling from impatience or error. Historians still argue whether the symbolic juxtaposition between differently equipped gladiator types served as commentary on broader societal dynamics, or simply resulted from practical considerations for entertaining variety. The exact purpose remains shrouded in debates. Yet the clear takeaway is the captivated audience's unwavering enthusiasm for each gladiatorial matchup's unfolding narrative. Reflect on how your type within this spectrum shapes your destiny in the arena. Many factors, such as your assigned equipment and the style you adopt, weigh heavily on your ability to tilt the scales when faced with formidable adversaries. The choices you make, consciously or as dictated by the powers that be, echo beyond weapon selection. They influence your reputation and the price the Lanista might command for a favored talent like yours. With another day of training drawing to a close, allow yourself to find a moment's quiet reflection amid the complexity of this ecosystem. Each clash you face, padded with the rhythmic chants of expectant crowds, reiterates the spectrum of styles utilized across the sandy battlegrounds. You recall a recent matchup, a Murmillo facing off against a nimble Retiarius, and how the crowd grew silent, spellbound by the unfolding drama of opposing tactics. Although these matchups might seem purely about combat, they also build towards audience expectation, ensuring thrilling narratives unfold before the eyes of the eager Roman populace. The ebb and flow of combat is orchestrated with a purpose beyond mere survival. Each style represents a confrontation of archetypes, feeding into a wider spectacle designed with a keen sense of theatrical pageantry. When you retreat to your quieter quarters, ponder once more on the fluid roles within this world. Each movement echoes the reality where creativity meets instinct. Each fight showcases how fighters must switch between protagonist and tactician, hero, and sometimes even punching bag. It's these narratives, where life and character collide, that keep both gladiator and audience engaged so eagerly, beckoning them to return for every contest anew. As the arena empties and torches flicker against the darkening sky, the roles resonate within you. Tomorrow might bring yet another fight or moment of triumph, signaled by cheering crowds, their applause a testament to the diverse array inhabiting this gladiatorial sphere. With each new dawn, the weight of a new weapon, armor, and fate rests in your hands. Embrace it all, a testament to the ingenuity and resolve symbolizing survival in the Colosseum's ever-changing dance of life and livelihood. As you navigate through the whirlwind of clashing swords and calculated maneuvers, another pivotal figure in the gladiatorial sphere comes into focus: the Lanista. Picture him standing at a distance, observing the training grounds with a keen eye. His role extends far beyond mere supervision. He is the heart of the gladiatorial operation, the mastermind who handles acquisitions, training, and the machinations that ensure each gladiator's performance is secured. The Lanista is not just a trainer, but a shrewd businessman, orchestrating deals that determine which arenas will host specific fighters, how contracts are negotiated, and essentially who thrives or doesn't under his watch. This figure commands both respect and, perhaps, a bit of apprehension, acting as intermediary between the raw grit of gladiators and the politically charged world of Roman spectatorship. One of the Lanista's primary responsibilities is the selection and recruitment of gladiators, a process not unlike that of assembling a sports team today. Whether acquiring prisoners of war, purchasing slaves, or enlisting volunteers seeking fame, his decisions impact the unique blend of talents present in the training school. The art of negotiation is central here, with stakes involving not just money, but prestige and power. You can imagine the hushed conversations conducted behind closed doors, each contract representing potential glory or potential futility. At the heart of the Lanista's operations is his ability to maximize the profitability and safety of his investment. Proper training is only one aspect. The Lanista also orchestrates matchups that excite yet minimize career-ending injuries. What spectators might see as spectacle is rooted deeply in meticulous planning, a balancing act of carnage and continuity. There's a quirky tidbit about a Lanista named Lentulus Batiatus, whose training school was known for its exceptional fighters. It's said that showmanship and fostering camaraderie within his ludus made his gladiators highly sought after, allowing him to demand higher fees for fight promotions. Such reputations turned Lanista into almost mythic figures, their schools akin to modern academies, with recognizable brands and high expectations of performance. But this role isn't without its darker twists. The Lanista navigates a treacherous landscape where political connections and societal pressures mean survival. Sometimes, his involvement even influences match outcomes, ensuring that key figures are appeased and the entertainment adheres to desired narratives. This behind-the-curtains manipulation means gladiators must trust, yet remain wary, aware that their lives are shrouded in decisions made far from the arena sand. Historians still argue whether the relationship between Lanista and Gladiator was primarily transactional, or if deeper bonds of respect and reliance often developed. Documentation remains sparse, but stories exist hinting at mutual advantage, turning into something akin to mentorship, an unexpected layer of complexity within the hard business of blood sport. Consider how your interactions with the Lanista reflect this dual nature. When the day's sweat has dried and the training grounds quiet down, it's often the Lanista's voice directing tomorrow's focus, promising new challenges tailored to broaden your skills or negotiating terms for your next appearance. His decisions ripple through your existence largely out of sight, but felt in every swing of the sword. One cannot overlook the psychological influence a Lanista holds. His vote of confidence might boost morale, or strategic silence when tensions run high may leave gladiators guessing and second-guessing. Negotiating the intricate dance between approval and performance is a skill in itself, one perhaps less physical, but equally vital to navigating this world of power and showmanship. As evening falls and the day concludes, the Lanista's presence lingers in the subtle details of your patterns and preparation. Behind each trainer's bark or supportive nod, beyond the weight of weapons sharpened and wielded, lies the shadow of a figure whose calculations align safety with spectacle, profit with prowess. The influence is as persistent as any shift in the sands of the arena, an omnipresent echo in the collective gladiatorial psyche. When you retire for the night, the room is awash with whispered tales about the otherworldly perceptions of a successful Lanista's foresight. Friends argue spiritedly about which ideologies hold true, echoes from training grounds past. Their conversations sedge through halls like autumn wind. The thread weaving you all isn't just a shared diet of meals, chants of fans, or spirits of rivalry, but this man who orchestrates it all like a maestro, guiding yet not dominating the melody of your uncertain destinies. With the faint glow of dwindling candlelight, amidst fleeting exchanges of speculation and strategy, the reminder remains. The Lanista's role is both a shield and a dagger, shaping and shifting the prospects of every gladiator stepping onto history's blood-stained page. As sleep creeps softly upon the training school, the Lanista's secret chorus plays on, emboldening the resolve each fighter bears as they face the uncertain edge of tomorrow. As the first rays of dawn touch the training grounds, your thoughts wander to an often overlooked, yet crucial aspect of a gladiator's survival: medical care. Within the world of blood and sand, where each skirmish is a dance of life and death, the role of healing becomes paramount. Today, you find yourself woven into this narrative, where ancient medicine clashes with the harsh realities of the arena, crafting a fascinating tale of recovery and expectation. Imagine yourself seated on a rough-hewn bench within the Ludus infirmary, a space echoing with whispers and groans. The scent of herbal poultices mingles with the sharp tang of vinegar, an aromatic reminder of both relief and the antiseptic needs within these walls. Dedicated medici, or physicians, flit around in muted tones, attending to gladiators with deft movements, weaving their healing arts amid the bruises and broken bones. In this realm of bodily mending, gladiators receive care that is surprisingly advanced for its time. Medical practitioners are well versed in wound treatment, using an array of concoctions from honey to wine as antiseptics. A mainstream historical fact that reflects the ingenuity of ancient healing techniques. Imagine the soothing sting as wounds are cleansed with these traditional remedies, each application a step towards recovery, a reprieve from the combat's harsh toll. This ancient medical artistry extends beyond immediate wound care. Broken bones and sprains are tended with meticulous splinting and herb-crushed poultices aimed at encouraging natural healing and reducing inflammation. Picture the medici, expertly setting a fracture, their fingers deftly manipulating bone, while reciting instructions to ensure immobilization. A performance of its own kind, matching precision with empathy. Interestingly, some accounts mention the use of a specialized diet following injury, rich in bone-building nutrients like calcium and other healing elements. This reinforces how nutrition weaves seamlessly back into the story of recovery, showcasing a holistic approach far ahead of its time, where bread and bean porridge might accompany medicinal instructions. A quirky tidbit emerges in the form of gladiators being exposed to practices involving folklore and fringes of superstition, seeking an edge in their quest for survival. Whispers of amulets and whispered incantations meant to ward off further harm circulate amidst barracks' shadows, their mystical promises playing on minds craving protection beyond the material realm. Historians still argue whether gladiators truly received the best medical care available to ensure their return to the sands, or if this is a later embellishment by those romanticizing the past. Accounts vary, and yet the logistics of training and survival necessitated some standard of care, rooting their relevance firmly in the blood sports economy. Consider how this facet of gladiatorial life offers more than a reprieve. It creates moments of introspection, capturing a time where one's vulnerability meets resilience. As you imagine yourself freshly bandaged, staring at the soaring walls of the Ludus in contemplation, it might occur to you just how pivotal healing is, not merely as a way to patch the physical, but an interlude to strategize, deepen tactics, and emerge stronger for the trials ahead. Even as your wounds mend under tender ministrations, the camaraderie among fellow gladiators is palpable. Watching veterans whisper encouragement or share snippets of advice drawn from their own brushes with mortality becomes a daily balm to the soul, as much therapeutic as the physician's salve on your damaged skin. Feel the unspoken brotherhood tightening around all threads binding each individual to a collective, caught in this whirlpool of human achievement and fragility. As the day's light grows softer, and you're finally able to test your newly healed body against practice targets, the spirit of gladiatorial defiance fuels you. Each motion, each part of mended flesh, a testament to the rich interplay between survival and concession, where a day's survival whispers a journey back towards another fight, another day upon the eager sands. At night, as you withdraw to the fire-lit glow of camp camaraderie, the stories of mending and resilience take flight. Even amid laughter and whimsy surrounding acts of valor, there's an unmistakable quiet appreciation for the Megiti holding sway over gladiatorial welfare. Reflecting on this intricate connection between preservation and performance, these guardians of health emerge unsung heroes, pillars veiled beneath the spectacle that defines your harsh world. In these stories, the theme persists: resilience, forged not just within combat's fury, but also maintained by the nurturing hands of caregivers. Through pain and skill, the shared saga of physical restoration forms an indelible part of the gladiator's very essence. Such constants can straighten through sacred moments of healing and laughter beneath star-bound skies, emboldening you to face the Colosseum anew, unity echoing through every fibre of existence. As the soft glow of the Roman dawn begins to brighten, drawing you from the depths of sleep, it is time to explore a lesser-known dimension of gladiatorial life: rituals and superstitions that each gladiator embraced to gain that ephemeral edge before stepping into the arena. These beliefs, woven into the very fabric of existence, served as balms against the palpable tension and uncertainty that surrounded every battle. Imagine yourself preparing for a fight, the air thick with an unspoken anticipation. You find solace in the ritual of donning your armor, an almost meditative sequence where each strap buckled and knot tightened becomes a sacred act. For many gladiators, these repetitions held deeper meaning, rites performed to protect, embolden, and grant strength against the capricious whims of fortune. A realm where the physical and metaphysical meet amid a rustling leather and clinking metal. Consider the common practice of invoking the protection of deities such as Nemesis, the goddess of retribution. Gladiators might wear amulets bearing her likeness or whisper prayers at her altar, seeking mercy or favor under her discerning gaze. The belief that divine intervention could tilt the scales of life and death added a subtle layer of confidence, an unseen armor to bolster courage. A quirky yet intriguing tidbit is the tradition involving the sprinkling of salt. Not just for preservation, salt was employed in rituals symbolizing purification and protection, a charm against malevolent forces. In hushed tones, fellow gladiators might share tales of how a pinch of salt scattered over the threshold kept bad luck at bay, a quaint practice that weaves the ordinary with the mystical. The act of entering the arena itself was steeped in symbolism. Historians still argue whether the custom of greeting figures like the emperor with the phrase "Ave Caesar morituri te salutant," or "Hail Caesar, those who are about to die salute you," was standard practice, or more selectively employed. The debate captures the tension between duty and destiny, a moment that foreshadowed impending combat while remaining a staunch reminder of vulnerability. As you gear up to step into the shifting sands, you might find that your mind returns to past victories and setbacks, each a parable whispering wisdom to guide strategies and instincts. Beyond the tangible rituals, these memories form personal mythologies, stories of resilience and hope that inform today's fight. Every scar bears silent witness, each representing both loss and survival, each edged with meaning. Observe the camaraderie bolstered by these shared beliefs. Beside you, a fellow gladiator murmurs a chant, a mantra passed down through generations like a precious heirloom, perfectly suited to calm frenetic nerves. He beams at you with a grin that somehow stitches confidence with trepidation, quips recalling his own good luck charms, before your laugh chases away any lingering tension. Even within this circle of ritual and camaraderie, differences in belief enrich the patchwork narrative. Charismatic conversations around nighttime fires idly turn to varied superstitions, some jesting about the oddest or most sacred rites observed, others fervently recounting the inexplicable benefits or sanctuary such customs bestowed. Lineages and traditions entwine, each contribution adding colour to the collective canvas of anticipation and adaptation. Back in the arena, As you take your stance under the weight of earnest expectations, the conscious shadows of these rituals accompany your every move. The footsteps rhythmically echo your heartbeat, mirroring the pulse of those watching and feeling from the stands above. Each step reverberates with an ancient rhythm of symbiotic practices and faith. In the space where action blends with ritual, you learn that even the smallest gesture, a flick of a wrist, the knotting of a laces, becomes a defining stroke. You lift your weapon with newfound focus, well aware of how intangibles can feel like shields against the barrage of spiked destiny. Each fight remains singularly yours, woven into a tapestry of beliefs, memories, and that inexplicable edge that sustains from match to match. As the day winds down and the battle has quieted to an echo, when the bruises heal alongside tender rituals of reflection, the comforting words of kindred spirits intone a shared legacy stronger than any armor. That evening, as the campfire crackles softly, the fellowship forged in ritual transforms once more into resilience deep threads that bind gladiators together time and time again. Concluding this exploration, there's a subtle realization. Gladiator life draped in rituals isn't simply about superstition or folly. Instead, you grasp that it's the continuous act of reaching beyond the conceivable for the extraordinary. The quiet power of belief, no less fierce than steel, whispering its promise that somewhere, between faith's tremulous chorus and the arena sands, lies the fragile yet unbreakable link between survival and sacrifice. As the echoes of the day's battles fade and the twilight descends upon the Colosseum, the discussion takes on a lighter, more introspective tone, weaving through the tales of gladiator status and fame amidst the Roman populace. Imagine yourself navigating the bustling corridors of the city, where whispers and excited chatter about the latest gladiatorial stars ripple through marketplaces and taverns alike. Fame in this world carries both allure and burden, an enigmatic yet tantalizing aspiration that beckons every gladiator who steps into the limelight. Picture yourself as a newly minted crowd favorite perhaps, through a particularly daring victory or a charismatic gesture during combat, suddenly thrust into the public eye. You can almost feel the shift in energy as you walk through the city streets, magnetic gazes following you, civilians pointing and murmuring your name in reverent tones. The sensation is heady, yet perplexing. In a place where one misstep can lead to dire consequences, basking in fame means balancing the precarious line between adoration and envy. For a gladiator, ascending to fame isn't merely about the roar of approval or chants echoing through dusty arches. It opens doors to relative privileges, an irony when juxtaposed against the harsh survival realities. Notable gladiators might find themselves courted by patrons eager to sponsor their careers, a gesture often reflecting the patron's own aspirations of reflected glory. Imagine private banquets where notable citizens request your company, eager to hear tales of your endeavors over fine food and wine. In these settings, a savvy gladiator transforms valorous imagery into a commodity, one that pays dividends not only in coin, but in connection. Such relationships could mean additional opportunities, an increase in autonomy, or even, on rare occasions, a ticket to freedom through the granting of the wooden sword, the rudis, symbolizing a release from the arena's clutches. Yet, this glittering fame entwines with burdens. Where influence grows, so does the pressure to perform, to live up to the mythos spun by reputation. The looming spectre of hubris remains, for among the smiling faces there lurk figures ready to capitalize on superficial slip-ups or perceived weaknesses. Here, the intoxicating dance between stagecraft and substantial prowess becomes pivotal. A quirky anecdote speaks to this duality, involving the widespread demand for images of favored gladiators on clay lamps, vessels, and graffiti. Imagine your likeness immortalized in kitchens and courtyards, the ancient equivalent of a celebrity endorsement, bearing your name across Rome's expanse. Yet for some, it seems an oversimplification, a reduction of complex identities into a convenient concept of strength and invincibility. In fascinating contrast, historians still argue whether honorary inscriptions and accolades granted to gladiatorial stars constituted genuine affinity for their personas, or more a temporary distraction, a way to mythologize individuals within the broader societal context. Such deliberations remain vibrant, hinting at the timeless tension between enduring admiration and fleeting spectacle. Reflect now on how this fame influences your existence. To someone living among such dichotomies, personal fulfillment takes forms both gratifying and perplexing. You understand that prominence in this arena encompasses not just triumphs, but the constant balancing act between humbled warrior and heralded hero. You learn the subtleties of managing expectations and steering narratives, these navigating skills as crucial as any sharpened weapon. As night settles over your dwelling, the sounds of festivities linger from a nearby fete, a celebration, and a reminder of how fame extends beyond the battlefield. In this world, your victories etch themselves into stories told over evening fires, the elusive glory transcending toasts and celebrations, narratives carried by the people who watch, admire, and discourse on the gladiatorial pantheon. You sip a modest drink, perhaps, and smile with a wry sense of knowing this fame-intoxicating burgeon reverie feels as tangible as the armor resting against your quarters. In dreams that night, the sensations of cheers and whispers float around you, spinning the hypnotic tale of Roman celebrity life, one where human resilience and authority enthrall the ancient heart. The echoes linger long after the visions fade, melding into the slow rhythm of breathing as you find repose in this cycle of both myth and mortality. At last, as the quiet fold of darkness envelops the world, the stories carry forth, unbroken strings connecting tomorrow's spectacle with today's ephemeral glories. It becomes clear that the profound nexus of gladiator fame is neither wholly light nor shadow. It is the dynamic interplay of both, shaping destinies and sealing legacies, even amid the fleeting sands of time. As the first light of day peeks over the stone facade, you find yourself drawn towards the colossal structure that has been the backdrop for much of our journey. The Colosseum itself, a marvel of Roman engineering and architecture. The very air around it seems to hum with the echoes of past spectacles and the anticipation of those yet to unfold. Walking closer, you are drawn into the intricate tapestry of its design, each element crafted to serve both function and spectacle, blending seamlessly into an arena where the stories of gladiators played out to thunderous acclaim. Imagine standing in the shadow of this architectural giant, gazing up at its towering arches, which provide both stability and aesthetic grandeur. These columns, rising tier upon tier, supported an amphitheatre capable of holding up to 50,000 spectators, each seat painstakingly arranged to offer an optimal view, ensuring that the drama of the arena unfolded vividly before every eye. It's said that Emperor Vespasian commissioned this grand edifice, and the vision seemed to have been brilliantly realized by his successor, Titus. Designed with precision, the Colosseum was not merely a holder of audiences, but a masterpiece of logistics. Picture the intricate network of passageways and staircases that allowed for efficient movement of crowds, like the veins and arteries of this great beast, pumping life and emotion into its stone heart. There were distinct seating hierarchies, reflected in the structure itself, ranging from the privileged senatorial seats to those of common citizens, women and slaves, subtly showcasing the social hierarchy of Rome. Consider the underground labyrinth known as the Hypogeum, a complex series of tunnels and cages where the gladiators and animals awaited their moment under the sun. Picture yourself wandering these dimly lit corridors, surrounded by the sounds of anxious beasts and hushed whispers of gladiators preparing for the unpredictable show above. From here, pulleys and mechanical lifts would raise fighters and creatures into view, effortlessly orchestrating dramatic entrances that captivated audiences. One historical fact that stands out is the Velarium, an ingenious system of retractable awnings operated by skilled sailors. These massive canvas coverings provided shade to the spectators, a technical marvel that transformed the venue and heightened the comfort of those in attendance, protecting them from the sun's scorching rays. It was as if Rome could control the very elements themselves, underscoring the empire's sheer ingenuity. The Colosseum also boasted remarkable acoustics. Historians still argue whether it was by accidental design or careful planning that the sounds of battle and cheers were amplified, carrying even the subtlest emotions to the farthest reaches of the stands. This auditory precision highlights Roman sophistication, ensuring that even those seated at a distance were immersed in the visceral experience of the games. There's a quirky aspect to consider too, the Colosseum's embracement of water spectacles. On occasion, the arena was flooded to reenact famous naval battles, using specially trained participants and miniature ships. As you trace your fingers along the cool stone walls, you gain an appreciation for how the Colosseum isn't simply a venue. It is a living organism with a pulse driven by both its architectural brilliance and the untold stories beneath its arches. Each stone tells a tale of victories celebrated and defeats mourned, of history in the making amidst the fervour of the games. In this arena, gladiators weren't just combatants. They were performers on one of the grandest stages ever constructed, made the Colosseum-shaped survival by combining its physical constraints and opportunities into a formidable spectacle that mirrored the perpetual battle between life and death. Retreating to the comfort of your quarters, you reflect on the enduring allure of this architectural marvel, and its dual role as both executioner and celebrant of human triumph. The stories it holds are as timeless as they are dynamic, where stone and spirit commingle in a classical dance, a haunting reminder of Rome's grandeur and the sacrifices rendered in pursuit of its legacy. As night envelops the colossal silhouette once more, it stands as a testament to enduring legacy, an unyielding monolith whispering centuries of courage, rivalry, and the indomitable human spirit. As you drift into sleep, it remains a steadfast guardian of those storied footfalls, carving history, one fight, one fame, and one echo at a time, into the eternal sands of time. As the evening shadows lengthen and the day's training winds down, your thoughts drift towards the subtle art of psychological warfare and strategy, critical components in the gladiator's arsenal for survival. If the physical battles were visibly brutal, the mental confrontations brewed with volatile intensity beneath the surface. Every move in the arena was calculated, every glance scrutinized, as much about feint and facade as strength and skill. Imagine stepping into the arena, the roar of the crowd cascading over you like a physical force. You feel the weight of their expectations, the discerning gaze of thousands. In these moments, the arena becomes not just a battleground, but a stage, where the performance unfolds in whispers of movement and deliberate gestures. Gladiators, well aware of this dynamic, approach each fight with sharpened minds as well as weapons. Encountering an opponent was as much about reading mental cues as it was about anticipating physical attacks. The way a foe balanced their weight could suggest vulnerabilities not immediately visible, a tell, in ancient poker, revealing more than intended in a game of poised peril. Picture yourself facing off against an experienced adversary. He offers a slight nod and smile, his demeanour suggesting an unworldly calm, yet within that facade lies an intricate dance of deception, a psychological chess match unfolding with every step and stance. If you can unset his composure with unanticipated aggression, or taunt perhaps a gesture learned from previous fights, you gain a momentary advantage, turning insight into action, hesitation into triumph. Use of arena elements too becomes a crucial aspect of strategy. The position of sunlight impacts visibility. Shifting sands create treacherous footing. Gladiators learned to exploit these variables to their favour, converting arena unpredictabilities into tactical landscapes in their minds, every realization improving their odds of success, each victory another crafted triumph on life's precarious edges. This dance extends to the crowd, not just as invisible spectators, but active participants in a gladiator's psychological strategy. Understanding audience dynamics could sway a fight's direction. Harnessing their energy, purpose, and noise serves as a powerful weapon. Gladiators skilled in working a crowd held sway over more than just combat. They commanded emotion, dictating narrative, and, potentially, determining a fight's outcome through public opinion. A fascinating historical tidbit revolves around specific gladiators who would perform pre-bout rituals to win the crowd's favour. Known to some as populares, these fighters would salute and even jest with the audience, drawing chortles and smiles, establishing an alliance beyond the arena sand. Such manoeuvres, personal and theatrical, fostered a powerful connection, often translating into support when life hung by a slender thread. Note that historians still argue whether these psychological elements overshadowed physical prowess or merely complemented it. Some suggest victory often hinged on mental resilience, not who wielded greater power, but who played the subtler, more nuanced game beneath the clangor of steel. As you lean into the night's quiet moment, consider how this unseen, often unlauded aspect of combat defines your journey. You learn it's not always the strongest who win, but those who adapt, who exploit diverse strategies and create opportunities where none initially appear. Reflecting inwardly, you observe how, over time, these adept strategies extend beyond the arena sands, informing social interactions and elevating survival skills in everyday life. The whispers of strategies turn into echoes of persistence and adaptability, principles applicable far beyond the Colosseum confines. lessons enduring long after the fight ends. As the evening skies deepen into a starlit canvas, you find solace in a camaraderie bound not by mere survival, but by shared experiences and psychological mastery, an intertwining of brotherhood and rivalry, unspooling in the gentle hum of night. Unlike the tangible swords and armor, these mental acrobatics create lifelong reflexes, an invisible yet invaluable shield that persists through the shifting sands of time. And so, when sleep's gentle tendrils embrace you at last, it's under the steady watch of an awareness honed by strategy. Lessons learned within the arena's unforgiving embrace weave through your resting thoughts like a soft lullaby, a night watch that dreams of both shield and sword, preserving tomorrow's fortunes with the imperceptible strength of mind and heart. As the early morning sun casts its first warm light over the Colosseum, you begin to contemplate the enigmatic yet pivotal role of the Emperor in the world of gladiatorial combat. The Emperor, a figure of immense power and influence, looms large. An authoritative presence whose whims could sway events far beyond the arena sands. In the complex tapestry of gladiator life, the Emperor's involvement not only shaped the games themselves, but often determined the fates of those who fought within them. Imagine yourself preparing for the day's events, aware that the Emperor is in attendance, seated in the imperial box, his gaze scanning the arena with both detachment and interest. For the gladiators, the nudges of fate feel particularly tangible on such occasions, as the Emperor's presence imbues the air with palpable tension. The power held by the Emperor was immense, and his influence on gladiatorial events profound. In essence, the games were an extension of imperial power, a spectre of Rome's might, and the Emperor's ability to entertain and appease the masses. A victorious festival could solidify political reputations, reinforcing the image of prosperity under his rule, turning combat and spectacle into instruments of statecraft. Picture the Emperor, clad in opulent regalia, his very presence capable of elevating the day's events to unprecedented prominence. A mere gesture from him, a thumb turned just slightly up or down, could dictate life or death, echoing as an act of divinity amid the roar of the crowd. The layers of human drama unfold like petals, and through them, the Emperor's nod becomes both binding and transformational, a divine decree set against the feverish backdrop of the game. Beyond mere symbolism, the Emperor's involvement often translated into direct advantages for some gladiators. Imagine the favor bestowed upon a particularly skilled fighter, whispered by rumor to echo the Emperor's regard. Such sanction might carry the gift of improved weaponry, advantageous training opportunities, or, in rare cases, clemency, infusing glimmering hope into the ever-present shadows of foreboding. The story of a gladiator named Spiculus comes to mind, a tale that hinges on the intricate relationship with Emperor Nero himself. Known for his exceptional prowess in the arena, Spiculus became a favoured champion, his victories doted with accolades and rewards that ensured his fame transcended the sands. It's a quirky yet significant anecdote of how imperial friendships, while capricious, offered a semblance of stability for gladiators navigating through life's perilous dance. Historians still argue whether such imperial preferences were based purely on personal amusement or calculated political play. When the emperor's reactions span as far as political machination, a sudden inclination for lavish death games could have implications reflecting the state's broader policies, often more than the realm of sport and spectacle. As you consider this intertwining of majesty and mania, reflect on the unpredictability implicit in this relationship. On one hand, imperial attention could act as a beacon of opportunity, guiding careers toward the light of freedom and fame from desperate beginnings. On the other, it becomes an ever-present cryptic force, humming with both potential and peril. Quietly, you weave your own story between this silken thread, aware of the emperor's presence, yet deeply entangled in personal strategy and preparation. You learn the subtleties of recognition, not just of your opponent's nuances, but of political atmospheres, understanding when to capture a moment's favour against Rome's powerful backdrop. As twilight falls and echoes of cheers fade into memory, the emperor remains a spectral presence, his imperial gaze like an unseen observer threading through Rome's fabric. Reflecting upon the day's battles, consider how his legacy, the platform he commands, becomes, in a way, an arena of its own. a stage where power roles converge and the grandeur of its framework captivates the yearning ambitions of many. Returning to quieter quarters, you find solace in the delicate balance between autonomy and imperial gaze. Your dreams tonight echo with the awareness that in the dance of governance and spectacle, survival demands a mastery of subtlety, both sword and wit, spinning a narrative written under the watchful eye of the imperial throne. In the silence of the moonlit night, where those aspirations float like whispers on the breeze, you align with this ever-shifting reality, where each movement might lead one step closer to the Emperor's favour, or the fateful darkness that lies beyond. And so you drift into a reverie bathed in starlight, maintaining with cautious hope the delicate balance of fortune, fate, and the unfathomable judgment of history itself. As you settle into the familiar rhythm of the day, your mind turns to a facet of gladiatorial life that unfolds behind the curtains of the Colosseum, the intricate world of behind-the-scenes politics. Within this arena, where swords cross and crowds roar, there exists an equally dynamic theatre of machinations and manoeuvring that influences outcomes far beyond the skill of the fighting gladiators. Imagine yourself navigating this political web, an unspoken dance of strategy and allegiances that pervades the very air surrounding the games. From the Lanista to the wealthy patrons and the influencers within the Roman Senate, various figures hold stakes in ensuring that the games fulfill their diverse objectives, weaving narratives that resonate with both the public and their sponsors. Consider the role of influential patrons in this complex arena. Wealthy and powerful individuals often sponsored fighters, providing them with resources and support in exchange for aligning them with their social agendas. An ancient equivalent of corporate sponsorship or political backing. Such arrangements could easily tip the scales, translating into better training, superior equipment, and focused attention within the ludus. You might overhear whispered conversations in the marble halls and bustling marketplaces, where patrons and senatorial members meet discreetly to discuss upcoming matches, discreetly aligning rivalries and potential outcomes with broader political themes. The games become a microcosm of Roman society, where political tensions and alliances unravel, not just in the Senate, but beneath the dust and chaos of the arena sands. Yet within this sphere of influence lie intricacies of persuasion and control that extend to the game's logistical aspects. Prominent organisers might gain leases on specific events, tapping into the public's appetite for varying spectacle, perhaps pitting popular gladiators against fierce animals, or introducing battles that evoke heroic legends of past conquests. A quirky anecdote illustrates these intersections. It's said that during a particularly tense political period, organisers cleverly incorporated allegorical beasts into the games, symbolising foreign adversaries of the empire. The spectacle not only gratified the desire for entertainment, but subtly reinforced state narratives, rallying sentiments of unity and patriotism among the citizenry. Historians still argue over the extent to which political factions manipulated the outcomes of the game. Some suggest it was primarily theatre and spectacle, layered with an undercurrent of genuine combat, while others view the games as deeply enmeshed with realpolitik, a place where alliances were forged as assuredly as steel clashed. Imagine how, as a gladiator standing on the unstable sands of this reality, you learn to attune to these whispers of power. You understand intuitively that survival requires more than mastery in combat, that being aware of these nuanced political currents can provide insight into when to assert caution or seize opportunity. The interplay between political interests and gladiatorial lives imbues your existence with added depth, transforming mere survival into a tapestry of strategy and acuity. A delicate navigation of forces that sway even when unseen, yet whose effects echo through cheers and victor songs alike. As day turns to dusk, and the echoes of the arena's roars retreat to murmurs, you find solace in the momentary quiet, understanding that the transparency of combat provides a necessary respite from these undercurrents. Reflect upon your place within this arena, not merely as a participant, but as part of a larger tableau where each move holds the potential to alter your future and those intertwined with yours. In the hush that falls over the city, imagine standing alone in the maze of this crisscrossed existence. The moonlight casts intricate patterns on buildings, a fitting metaphor for the woven complexities that both trap and define your reality. The serenity of this vision hovers like a protective veil, cradling aspirations and insights that sing softly of promise and peril. Easing back into the safety of rest, you muse upon these politics, aware that you remain both player and prize in this game of calculated chance. The sanctuary of sleep draws near, where dreams whisper of gladiators and dignitaries joining in this celestial drama, in the silent dialogues of stars and shadows, in enduring cyclical choreography that writes its narrative in the sands of time. As the morning sun warms the Colosseum, casting its golden glow upon the ancient stones, your thoughts turn to the complex dynamics of collaboration and camaraderie within the arena, a delicate dance where survival often depends not just on individual prowess, but on the intricate web of alliances formed among gladiators. These relationships, forged in the crucible of combat, could provide a vital shield, simultaneously enhancing chances of survival and presenting new challenges. Imagine preparing for a day where your opponent stands not across from you, but beside you. In the labyrinthine world of the arena, where every bout is ostensibly a fight to the death, the importance of collaboration cannot be overstated. Gladiators often found themselves in team battles or against fearsome beasts, necessitating not only skill with a sword, but also the ability to work in seamless harmony with comrades. Take, for instance, the synergy required to subdue a charging beast. In these scenarios, gladiators honed their skills to complement one another, developing tacit signals and fluid choreography, allowing each to play a role in the collective mission. These partnerships went beyond mere survival. They became an expression of mutual trust and respect, a silent vow made amid chaos. You feel it in the practiced movements where each gladiator seems to anticipate the other's actions, avoiding injury or capitalizing on opportunities almost instinctively. The concept of camaraderie extended beyond the combat arena and into the lives shared within the ludus. Picture the shared meals, the exchanged stories and strategies whispered in the stillness of the night. These moments build solidarity that transcends the imminent reality of battle, transforming fellow gladiators from mere rivals into a brotherhood united in the face of overwhelming odds. There's a quirky tidbit about the common practice of sharing combat names, inspired by mythological heroes or personal attributes given not only by their Lanista but often chosen and conferred by fellow gladiators to highlight solidarity. These nom de guerres served not only as an intimidation tool but also as a metaphorical bond, a reflection of established camaraderie. Historians still argue about the depth of these alliances, questioning how deep they ran beneath the competitive surface of gladiatorial life. Were these collaborations purely pragmatic, or did they speak to a deeper recognition of shared fate and purpose? Some suggest that these bonds were vital survival mechanisms, while others insist they were temporary alignments dictated by necessity. Interpretations remain as varied and diverse as the stories themselves. Imagine the subtle dynamics of such alliances, where personal ambition interplays with shared goals. One must measure each interaction, precisely gauging truth amid the bravado, sincerity hidden within whispers. The interlacing of vulnerability and strength reshapes gladiatorial life into a dance paradoxically laced with fragility and resilience, not just within the contours of combat, but in the essence of existence itself. Reflecting upon these partnerships as night approaches, you find yourself considering how they have shaped your reality. They foster an emotional geography, forming connections between victories, defeats, triumphs and losses. Each handshake, a treaty of survival. Each clasp, a reminder of the precarious web binding all who tread these storied sands. As evening casts a gentle shroud over the Colosseum, you stand amid this beautiful paradox, maybe resting on a worn stone bench beside a fellow fighter. The shared silence speaks volumes, a bond strengthened not through words, but by an understanding as deep and profound as the arena itself. It's here in these quiet moments that the collective spirit thrives, illuminating pathways forged amid the fires of shared trials. As slumber welcomes you, entwined in these intangible threads, you drift into dreams kissed by past partnerships and stories yet to unfold. The ever-churning currents of companionship carry you into the night, a fluid testament to ties built upon shared struggles and unbreakable resolve. Thus you rest, heart cradled by the calming whispers of camaraderie, a gentle reminder that through these tales etched both in ancient dust and the cyclical embrace of time, you are never truly alone. In the quiet darkness, the messages remain clear. Survival isn't just about standing alone within the ring, but rising together transcending individuality among an eternally steadfast brotherhood. As the first light of day spills into the morning sky, you consider another shadowy aspect of a gladiator's world. Battles against wild animals that blur the line between man and beast, offering yet another layer of danger and spectacle to the gladiatorial games. Picture yourself in the arena, the crowd's anticipation palpable as they await the terrifying clash between humans and nature at its most untamed. Imagine standing on the sands, gripping your weapon tightly, your senses heightened by the primal energy that accompanies these unique encounters. It's not just another gladiator before you, but a massive, sinewy beast, toothy and powerful, eyes flashing with untamed ferocity. Whether it's a lion, a bear, or a pack of wolves, facing these creatures requires a different kind of courage and strategy. Measure your breath. The air feels heavy, thickened with tension that surges in waves throughout the Colosseum. Such spectacles, known as venationes, pitted gladiators against exotic animals in displays of impressive combat skills. These events not only highlighted the might of the empire, capable of sourcing creatures from the furthest reaches of its domain, but also offered the audience a savage taste of adventure and dread, underscoring man's mastery over the natural world. But the outcome of these encounters was anything but assured. A mainstream historical fact is the belief that many animals had been captured in the wild and transported to Rome specifically for these contests. A journey that often left them tired and agitated, yet still ferociously capable. This added an unpredictable element to the games. Would the animal lash out in blind rage or retreat in confusion? Perhaps, with careful maneuver, you could exploit its exhaustion to achieve victory. Yet it's here where gladiator skills truly shine, where intelligence must blend seamlessly with strength and bravery. You must read the creature's movements, understanding its intentions as if it were a human opponent. Watch its eyes, the rhythm of its breathing. Subtle cues might reveal when it's about to pounce and when it might pause, moments critical to the orchestrator facing it. A quirky detail lies in reports of gladiators occasionally shielding themselves with nets, not unlike those used by the retiarius to entangle their animal foes. These tools, crafted from strong, resilient rope, offered a chance to ensnare fierce beasts long enough to exploit vital openings. Such tactics illustrate the ingenuity demanded by these hunters on a battleground where typical strategies could fall short. Historians still argue about the frequency and lethality of these spectacles. Some suggest these animal battles were far more deadly and immediate than the more regulated human confrontations. Others propose their outcomes were occasionally managed to maintain suspense or offer respite in pacing. Reflecting on these encounters, you recognize a deeper symbiosis between audience and gladiator. Each drawn by the shared embrace of uncertainty, you learn to transform what could be raw terror into fuel, channeling adrenaline into poised energy. Every heartbeat echoing within the cacophony of the Colosseum and the frantic rhythm of feet on sand. The marketplace spreads tales of notable battles, dispatches recounted among awed discussions of daring fights against ferocious predators. You overhear others recounting their favorite moments where people retell these narratives with flourishes and drama, both enthralling and cautionary, becoming part of the shared mythology of the games. After a day suffused with excitement, as twilight descends over the Colosseum, leaving behind lingering echoes of nature's ferocity and bravery of gladiators, your thoughts drift toward rest, mindful that in confronting such wild forces, you become part of an ongoing saga. The moonlit expanse embraces night's tranquility, where constellations align with an insistent whisper echoing from the day's earlier roars, the constant cycle of rhythm, tension, and rest. As you prepare for sleep, you carry these stories of combat, burdened with their raw, primal energy, into the tranquility of dreams. This dance against nature's might leaves its mark, a saga etched into the sands and shadows of history's courageous dance. In the quietude of slumber, your spirit remains resolute, living amidst both beast and brother, their lessons forged in heart and heartbeat. You lay enveloped within the Colosseum's enduring spell, a cradle of strength, rhythm, and tenacity, until morning nudges you toward new challenges, each step as indelible as the trance of triumph, intertwined with tales of the wild's indomitable spirit. As the sun begins its slow ascent and the morning light filters through the arches of the arena, your thoughts drift to a rare but tantalizing dream held by many gladiators, the prospect of freedom. Within a life dominated by combat and survival, the possibility of retirement or emancipation stands as a beacon of hope, a goal that seems both tantalizingly close and heartbreakingly distant. Imagine yourself preparing for yet another day under the watchful eyes of the spectators, but this time with an added shimmer of possibility. Each fight might bring you closer to a future where the clank of armor and the thud of sand give way to quieter pursuits, a life untouched by the constant spectre of combat. For those who demonstrated incredible prowess in the arena, freedom was not merely a dream, but an achievable reality. By winning the crowd's favor or impressing a wealthy patron or the emperor himself, a gladiator could be granted a rudis, a simple wooden sword symbolizing their release from the bonds of the ludus. This small token carried immense significance, marking the transition from fighter to freedman, a testament to valor and resilience. Consider the peculiar nature of this transition. Freedom often came with its own set of complexities, presenting both opportunities and challenges. While many former gladiators chose to remain within the relative familiarity and safety of the gladiatorial community, perhaps as trainers, advisors, or in administrative roles, others might strike out on their own, their newfound liberty a chance to forge a path unbound by the chains of servitude. Historians still argue over how many gladiators actually achieved such freedom versus those who remained within the brutal cycle of the arena. However, the accounts of notable figures like Marcus Attilius, a slave-turned-freedman who fought his way to emancipation within the arena's walls, underscore the powerful allure and reality of this escape. A quirky yet poignant anecdote reveals that some retired gladiators continued to revel in the popularity afforded by their past lives. Caricatures, etchings, and recountings of their famed battles could turn former combatants into enduring cultural icons, akin to retired athletes of today who maintain public personas post-career. Fame became a currency far beyond the fight, opening doors to taverns they owned, businesses they inspired, or even theatrical reenactments where their step into legend was nostalgically replayed. Reflect on the prospect of creating a new life, free from the arena's shadows, and you understand that this leap into freedom might involve fear as well as exhilaration. The dichotomy of losing an identity forged through grit and valor offers both relief and nostalgia. What is known is exchanged for the unknown, the comfort of battles replaced by the nuances of civilian life. As tales of those who gained the rudis fill your thoughts, the narrative expands beyond personal triumph to inspire others still under gladiatorial bonds. Those stories echo within the stone walls of the Colosseum and far beyond Rome, weaving into the fabric of memory and ambition, whispered legends carried like precious embers. Keep hope alight, for freedom lies within arm's reach. As twilight gives way to night and the world quiets, you dream of the possibility etched within the wooden grain of the rudis. It represents more than just freedom, but the culmination of every lesson learned, every bout fought, every camaraderie shared. It's a symbol of resilience, the ultimate prize awarded for not just surviving, but thriving under impossible circumstances. You drift into sleep, your mind painting vibrant images of a life beyond the arena, where each step takes you further into what might be. A narrative you're not just observing, but writing with your own indomitable spirit. Deep within this gentle slumber, you revel in the soft cadence of freedom, a lullaby composed of liberated tales, the harmony of heart showing you the way back to the sands each day, and as you rest, the promise of tomorrow glows softly, a vow whispered against the twilight, an unyielding reminder that dreams of freedom, persevering yet possible, play softly within the silken thread of each sunrise. As the dawn light gently washes over the Colosseum, the memories of rebellion linger, tales embedded deep within the stones whispering their truths. You journey further into the realm of those who defied not just their immediate fate, but the very structure of a society built on the spectacle of life and death. These stories of revolt continue to resonate, testament to the enduring human spirit striving for freedom. The story of Spartacus, the most renowned of gladiator insurgents, serves not only as a centerpiece but as a catalyst, inviting other tales of bravery and discontent. Imagine the quiet plotting, the surge of adrenaline as plans culminate into action, slaves and gladiators rising against their captors, fueled by the desperate yearning for agency and autonomy in a world that valued neither. In the hidden alcoves of the ludus, whisperings of freedom share space with stories of those who rose alongside Spartacus. Among these were gladiators like Gannicus and Crixus, names that grew into symbols of resilience and resistance. Their stature as leaders underscores a powerful truth, that even in the face of overwhelming opposition, solidarity and a shared cause could fuel the fires of rebirth and rebellion. As the revolt grew, so too did its complexity. What began as a desire for freedom quickly morphed into a pseudo-warlike campaign. The rebels, once bonded by the chains of slavery, learned the war tactics of their oppressors, turning their intimate understanding of Rome's machinations into a formidable advantage. Picture them, a ragtag band turned disciplined force, employing strategic hits that befuddled seasoned Roman generals. Such insurrections forced Rome to consider the reach and impact of its spectacles. How these gladiators, when united by a cause greater than themselves, could upend the balance of power. Yet, historians still argue whether the fear instilled by such revolts significantly altered Roman policies, or merely momentarily disrupted the grander narrative amidst tightened state control. The stories regale with anecdotes of gladiator camps, where diverse backgrounds blended into a unifying tapestry. Here, gladiators found family and purpose beyond the hardened gaze of the Colosseum's spectators, crafting communities around shared ideals and dreams of a freer life. Bonds forged in fire and fear became a formidable shield, stronger than any forged metal wielded in the arena. Amidst the somber reality of these rebellions lies a bittersweet note of humour. Those who fought back against Rome seized upon satire, speaking candid truths about their would-be oppressors, often through veiled jests shared around twilight fires. Laughter, it seemed, became an unyielding companion, a source of strength amidst adversity, scattering seeds of hope in an unforgiving world. Reflecting upon these chapters of rebellion, you find that the essence of defiance isn't merely punctuated by grand gestures, but filled with quieter acts of courage, often unnoticed beneath the grand sweep of history. It's an enduring reminder that the human spirit perseveres even when physically constrained. An indefatigable drive that seeks justice and autonomy despite daunting odds. As the night embraces the city with a serene hush, let the echoes of those who dared to rise above their chains guide you into rest. Within the silent, knowing shadows, whispers of past and present blend to create a narrative that serves as the cornerstone of resilience. This reflection eases you into a night where dreams are outlined by the valor of rebel hearts, eternally unfazed by shackles. In sleep's gentle embrace, you find echoes of this fearless history weaving through your dreams. The stories speak not just of past uprisings, but of future possibilities. The call to rise above, to courageously navigate the journey to freedom that beats deeply within hearts both bounded and free. As dawn approaches, the soft cadence of rebellion forms a protective cradle, a testament to human spirit unyielded and awake, ever ready to wield the rudest of empowerment. As the first light of a new day paints the Colosseum in golden hues, you turn your thoughts to a fascinating but often overlooked chapter in the history of gladiatorial combat. The women who stepped into the arena, defying societal norms and reshaping the narrative of this ancient spectacle. Though fewer in number than their male counterparts, these female gladiators, or gladiatrices, left an indelible mark on Roman culture and the legacy of the gladiatorial games. Imagine yourself standing on the sands of the arena, the anticipation palpable not only among the spectators but within yourself, a woman in a domain traditionally dominated by men. Your heart pounds with adrenaline, not just for the battle that lies ahead, but for the statement your very presence makes. Each step across the arena challenges long-held perceptions. Each clash of weaponry a testament to an evolving landscape where courage knows no gender. Although less common, female gladiators were indeed part of the spectacle, often portrayed with an air of exotic novelty. Sometimes they were pitted against male gladiators or even wild beasts, engaging in matches that captivated audiences eager for unique displays of prowess. The allure of the unusual drew crowds, sparking debates and discussions that revealed the complexities of Roman society's views on gender roles. Picture the scene, as two gladiatrices, their formidable forms clad in armour, raise their weapons to the sky, earning the roar of approval from the throngs above. Here, women proved that strength and valour were not confined to gender, but flowed from the same wellspring of human fortitude that fueled their male counterparts. Historians still argue the extent to which female gladiators participated in these games regularly, and the level of recognition they received. Were they anomalies for special occasions, or more integrated into the general tapestry of gladiatorial life? Some argue that their presence was more ceremonial than substantive, while others insist they were genuine warriors whose stories simply didn't survive the passage of centuries. A quirky tidbit emerges from a specific historical account involving two female gladiators, Achillea and Amazonia, who fought stoically to a stalemate, their mutual skill praised in the aftermath of their dramatic duel. This encounter hints at the respect and awe these women commanded, even if fleetingly, carving out a space that resonated beyond simple spectacle. It's worth pondering the implications for those who followed, how their participation challenged societal constraints and expanded the scope of what was possible, not just within the arena, but in the broader cultural landscape of Rome. The presence of women in the gladiatorial rings invited discussions around gender equality long before it became a modern topic, sowing the seeds for conversations that continue to this day. As the sun dips below the horizon and leaves in its stead the quiet darkness of night, reflect on how these gladiatresses remind us of the timeless power of breaking barriers. Here, amidst the fading echoes of the day's events, lies the understanding that true strength encompasses the courage to redefine tradition, to write new chapters in the stories we tell about ourselves and our world. In the solace of night, as dreams weave through your resting thoughts, images of these fierce warriors speak of resilience and transformation. They become figures chiseled into the annals of an arena that respects skill above all, a silent tribute to those who stepped beyond the known and into legend. In slumber you find strength in these stories, transported to that ancient world where blades and bravery cut through the air, leaving traces not just on the competitors, but on history itself. The dreams that tug at you are vibrant with possibility, imbued with the pulsating rhythm of change that beats steadily beneath the sands of time. A testament to those who stepped into the light and forged their own path, challenging all who watched to reconsider what might be possible. As the golden glow of morning graces the ancient stone of the Colosseum, your attention turns to the enigmatic role of the audience in the survival of gladiators. From senators to commoners, the crowd was a living, breathing entity whose presence was integral to the games. The shifts and sways of public sentiment could dramatically influence the fate of those who dared to enter the arena. Imagine the anticipation pulsing in the air as the tiers of the Colosseum swell with spectators, an awe-inspiring sea of eager faces, each individual a part of the larger organism that responds in a wave of sound and emotion. The audience, with its collective power, was not just a passive observer but an active participant in the spectacle, a key player in the gladiatorial theatre who held considerable sway over the proceedings. Picture yourself stepping onto the sand, acutely aware that your performance today must capture the crowd's favour. Not merely evidence of your skill, but a calculated engagement with the multitude that ensures their admiration and, if necessary, mercy. Every move you make is not just a part of combat, but a performance carefully crafted to entertain and earn goodwill. The decision of an emperor's thumb might ultimately decide life or death, but it was often guided by the roaring approval or vehement disapproval of the gathered masses. The audience's clamour could sway this ultimate show of authority, a subtle yet profound indication of the power rooted in public opinion. The ancient poet Juvenal famously quipped about Rome's citizenry hungering for bread and circuses, capturing how critical the games were to maintaining public morale and political peace. Here, life and death were transformed into a dazzling display that offered respite from daily struggles, a thrilling diversion with the power to captivate and unite the populace, stoking emotions from the visceral to the political. A quirky aspect of crowd dynamics is the idea that friendships and rivalries could develop between gladiators and their fan bases. Even specific fighters, known for their flair or valour, amassed devoted followings akin to modern sports heroes. People would cheer their chosen gladiator's name, infusing the atmosphere with camaraderie and competition among spectators, linking personal stakes to public spectacle. Historians still argue about the extent to which the audience's mood genuinely impacted outcomes versus merely adding layers of theatre to predestined conclusions. Some see it as crucial, where sentiment influenced crucial decisions, while others view it as more theatrics than legitimate power. Nonetheless, the connection between gladiator and audience was undeniable, a symbiotic relationship blending performance with perception. Consider how, as you navigate this landscape, you must understand not just the art of combat, but the nuances of appeal. You learn the delicate choreography, where a glance or flourish can tip the scales of favor. Engaging with the crowd is an unspoken skill, where a confidently raised arm or a triumphant grin can ignite thousands of voices into a chorus of support. Even as battles unfold, remaining attuned to the pulse of the people inspires fleeting yet profound glimpses of humanity. The dust and heat become a backdrop, a stage where personal and collective narratives collide in spectacular fashion, driven by shared moments of tension and release, crescendoing under the Roman sky. After the day's battles, as the arena empties and silence descends like a soft blanket over the stones, reflect on this dynamic exchange. The fusion of performance art with martial craft, orchestrated through the finely tuned responses of the audience, speaks of a deeper connection between gladiators and the Roman public, a mutual recognition that within the struggles and victories on the sands lie reflections of their own lives. In the quiet sanctuary of night, you turn these thoughts over in your mind, contemplating how each cheer, chant, and cry are woven into your journey. The crowd, their passion, and their unpredictability are both ally and obstacle, a complex entity whose favor or disdain could alter destinies with the grace of a whisper or the force of a mighty roar. As dreams take hold, carrying you through realms both real and imagined, echoes of distant applause ring softly in your thoughts. The people, the audience, remain a haunting presence, both guiding and cheering your path through the annals of time. An ever-present force, reminding you of your role not just as a gladiator, but as an interpreter of Rome's dramatic, timeless dance. As the sun creeps above the horizon, casting its soft light over the venerable stones of the Colosseum, thoughts turn to another facet of gladiatorial survival, the importance of appearance. While skill and valor undoubtedly played paramount roles, a gladiator's appearance could enhance the spectacle, sway audience favor, and contribute significantly to their overall success and longevity within the arena. Imagine yourself preparing for the day's combats, meticulously donning armor that does more than protect, it must dazzle and define. The gleam of polished metal catches the light, dazzling the eye and drawing attention. Your armor and weaponry are not merely tools of war, but integral aspects of the performance art inherent to gladiatorial contests. The way you present yourself when you step onto the sand speaks volumes, from the crested helm that casts a formidable silhouette to the intricate details of your attire that hint at individuality and style. Every aspect of appearance contributes to the broader narrative woven for the crowd. Gladiators became living works of art, their every feature a brushstroke on the canvas of public perception. The diversity of gladiatorial roles meant varying appearances that aligned with specific archetypes. Market yourself as a Murmillo or Retiarius, and ensure that every weapon and piece of armor embodies that spirit. Bold colors and elaborate plumes add flair, while scars serve as testament to past battles, a balance between the allure of the exotic and the credibility of experience. A quirky practice among some gladiators was the deliberate creation of distinctive identifiers, such as carving unique symbols or sigils into armor, building a recognizable brand. In essence, these became early forms of personal logos, crafted as much for the adulation of the crowd as for the psychological edge over opponents in the ring. Historians still argue about the extent to which appearance directly influenced survival chances versus contributing to broader fame and fortune. While some assert that a striking figure enhances audience attachment, others consider skill paramount, viewing appearance as an optional flourish within the whirlwind of combat. But even beyond the arena, the investment in appearance extended to societal interactions. After all, in a world that valued visual storytelling, a gladiator's off-duty attire often mirrored their in-arena persona, reinforcing public image within Roman society at large. Picture mingling through city streets where residents recognized you not just by acclaim or deeds, but by the unmistakable symbols and sartorial choices tied to your gladiatorial identity. For you, as someone navigating this world, appearance signifies much more than superficial impression. It becomes an essential tool, sculpting the perception and engaging the public's imagination. The careful balance of authenticity and pageantry adds layers to your presentation, each component a strategic piece of the larger narrative within which you play your part. As dusk settles and the Colosseum quiets, consider how this interplay of perception and reality spans well beyond the arena. It is a haunting reminder that in many ways, Life is defined as much by externals as by internal truths, a testament to how ambition, vanity, and purpose mold every human endeavor. Within the cocoon of night, allow yourself to muse upon all these intertwined elements, importantly acknowledging how the aesthetics of warfare form as meaningful a dialogue as the physical. Your place amid these considerations remains unquestioned, where every move in armor or expression on the street builds into a grand symphony of life and legend. Slumber draws near, carrying dreams touched by vivid hues of yesterday's battles and tomorrow's aspirations, an intricate dance where you glide effortlessly, dedicated to artistry as a form of survival. Whispers of past glory swirl softly around your consciousness, guiding you toward the restful embrace of sleep in the silent realm of dreams. The image of an arena, the echoes of a crowd, and the silhouette of a gladiator merge into one, a timeless expression of strength, identity, and the delicate artistry that fuels your enduring saga. As the morning light gently envelops the Colosseum, casting long shadows across its ancient stones, your thoughts turn to the evolution of gladiatorial games over time. What began as small, localized celebrations of martial prowess gradually transformed into monumental spectacles that captivated the Roman Empire. This evolution reflects societal changes, shifting tastes, and the broader rhythms of history, all playing out upon the sands of the arena. Imagine yourself standing amidst the crowds, as the games you once knew evolve with each passing year. A kaleidoscope of new themes and grander productions unfurls, drawing ever larger audiences, eager to be awed and entertained by ever more elaborate feats. Initially, gladiatorial games were relatively modest affairs, perhaps marking funerals or commemorating the dearly departed with displays of valor and honor. But as Rome expanded in influence, so too did its appetite for spectacle. Imagine the transformation as the games grew in scale and ambition, from small gatherings to grand festivals involving diverse matchups, exotic animals, and complex narratives that mirrored the broader Roman conquest and culture. The introduction of new gladiatorial types, as well as dramatic narratives, turned the games into theatrical performances without script, choreographed chaos where every participant knew their role within a broader saga. It's not just about fighting. It's about staging stories that reflect myths, history, and the multifaceted grandeur of Roman ideals. A mainstream historical fact that captures this evolution is the Fayum Oasis murals from Egypt, depicting vivid scenes of gladiators and athletes, encapsulating the game's global reach and popularity. These artworks signify not merely entertainment but cultural exports, showcasing how Rome's influence spread through the shared language of spectacle. Moreover, consider the evolution of the Colosseum itself. Each architectural innovation tailored to heightening the drama, from the Velarium's shade to the Hypogeum's intricate lift systems, these improvements mirrored the game's growing complexity as well as Rome's architectural ambitions. Over time, the games transformed in response to social and political shifts within the empire. They became symbols of power consolidation, instruments of public distraction amid political unrest, and manifestations of emperors' benevolence or tyranny. Emperors like Trajan hosted games with record numbers of gladiators, turning martial supremacy into an emblem of their rule. Historians still argue whether these vast changes enriched or impoverished the original nobleness of gladiatorial combat. Did the burgeoning theatricality dilute the symbolic act of battle, or did it elevate the games to monumental cultural expressions? The debates invite considerations of authenticity versus grandeur, purity versus progress. In unraveling these layers, reflect on the gladiator's role, which adapted in concert with these diverse tides. A successful gladiator's survival required not just physical prowess, but adaptability within the ever-changing arena milieu. You became not only a combatant, but a performer, an interpreter of cultural narratives evolving with the empire itself. As you ponder these transitions, watch the sun retreat and shadows deepen over the Colosseum. Feel the connection between past and present, acknowledging how the flow of history shaped the spectacles that defined a society. Each cycle between sun and shadow casting renewed perspectives, reminding you of legacy both personal and proscenium. Finally, relax into the night's tranquil embrace, where the stories of these evolutionary arcs sing softly of transformation, written in the sand by the footfalls of countless historical figures, their voices birthing an imperishable echo through the corridors of time. And as the night deepens its restful blanket around you, the dreams that cradle your sleep teem with visions of arenas past and of future possibilities. Your place, forever tied to these shifting sands, is one of continuity and change, a guardian of an eternal expression that remains bright in the heart of history, defying the passage of time even as it adapts with every new dawn. Gently, as your mind drifts further into these explorations, let a calming wind down accompany you. As whispers of the past softly fade, imagine the vast expanse of time and space unfolding gently around us. Allow each story to blend seamlessly into a hush of tranquility, the vibrant echoes quieting into a serene night's symphony. With each deep breath, feel the weight of the day's adventures lifting, leaving behind only the gentle outline of warm memories. The spectacle of life, like the ancient games, evolves with fluid grace, each turn revealing new facets and forgotten echoes. Trust in the quiet rhythm of the night, reassuring and gentle, as we leave behind the tumult of battles and glory. Here, within this serene embrace, we find solace and peace, a moment's respite, cradled by time itself. And as stars weave their soft, glowing tapestry above, let your dreams unfurl with the promise of restful adventure, whispering tales of old and new. Tonight the sands are soft and the journey is gentle. Sweet dreams and serene rest await in the tranquil embrace of history's tender lullaby. Greater than, greater than, greater than, end of script. Sweet dreams. As the sun rises over the immense arches of the Colosseum, its warm light heralds a new chapter of a delicate wind. You start to hear the wind down from the grand narratives of history to the softer reflections on the aftermath of the games. In this gentle calm after the storm, you find yourself exploring the quieter echoes left behind, the fading energy that slowly recedes to leave space for contemplation and healing. Imagine lingering in the Colosseum's shadowed alcoves long after the cheers have faded and the dust has settled. Here, where the frenetic pulse of combat once demanded your full attention, there's a newfound serenity. The sounds of swords clashing and crowds roaring are replaced by the soft whisper of a breeze through the empty stands, a gentle reminder of the resilience at the heart of gladiatorial life. This transition from the frenetic energy of the games to the peaceful stillness is akin to the winding down of a day's intensity. It invites you to consider how gladiators and their world adjust once the glare of public scrutiny dims. Beyond the public eye, the rhythms of recovery take place, a time for healing wounds, sharing tales, and preparing for whatever comes next. Consider how participants and spectators alike return to their daily lives, carrying with them the stories spun from that day's spectacle. The narratives learned and lives witnessed serve as the connective tissue between individual experiences and the broader fabric of history, shaped and reshaped by each episode of the games. From these shared memories emerge new dialogues, conversations that unfold in the markets and homes throughout the city. People gather to recount the day's events, weaving their versions of stories witnessed together, reinforcing community bonds through the shared tales of valor, tragedy, and triumph. A quirky aspect of life after the games is the informal gatherings surrounding the taverns and bathhouses, where spirited debates spark into existence. Deliberating over the tactics seen or marveling at the bravery displayed, these moments become treasured vignettes of connection, transforming the games from singular events into collective memories for generations. Historians still argue about how these communal narratives reflect the evolving identity of Rome itself. How did the echoes of the arena shape societal norms and values? Was the sense of communal bonding a carefully woven tapestry of Roman identity? Such questions tease the edges of understanding, prompting us to explore deeply the interplay between spectacle and society. In this post-game hush, the human spirit finds rejuvenation in routine. Gladiators returning to their ludi experience the relief of anticipation's absence and the comfort of minor rituals restored. Wounds are tended and muscles eased, underscoring the necessity of rest and healing in a world accustomed to ceaseless competition. As night blankets the Colosseum, swathing ancient stones in shadow, there exists a comforting sense of closure, a monologue of dreams and aspirations left to linger in the stillness. Reflect on this cyclical rhythm that shapes the gladiator's life, where daylight brings spectacle, but night carves out reprieve and introspection. Here, as you prepare to close the day yourself, allow the gentle embrace of night to slow your mind, inviting a serene pause amid the swirling stories. The hustle and intensity of the day surrender gracefully into a warm, cradling quiet, a space where musings softly alight like stars upon the horizon of sleep. And so, as your thoughts drift gently toward a restful slumber, the echoes of the day weave into the tapestry of dreams, a calming lullaby of history's rhythms, ebbing and flowing, until they carry you into the gentle embrace of night's restful peace. Sweet dreams dance across the land where gladiators once roamed, whispering softly of hope and harmony, lulling you into the soft void of repose. As the morning sun graces the Colosseum with its golden warmth once more, your thoughts drift to how the legacy of gladiators extends beyond the ancient stones and into the present day. The portrayal of these warriors in modern media shapes perceptions that often blur the lines between myth and reality, creating a captivating but sometimes misleading narrative of what it truly meant to be a gladiator. Imagine yourself surrounded by the captivating allure of contemporary films, television series, and popular literature, each presenting its own vision of the gladiatory world. These portrayals often amplify the spectacle and drama inherent in the life of a gladiator, highlighting fierce battles and heroic feats, while sometimes glossing over the complexity of their daily existence. Consider how these modern retellings may romanticize the gladiatorial arena, focusing on the heroic struggles and legendary warriors who faced each other with honor. The drama unfolds with the intensity of combat front and center, soundtracked by dramatic scores and crafted with cinematic aplomb. In these versions, gladiators become larger-than-life figures, imbued with a sense of nobility and bravery that captures our imagination. However, these stories can sometimes obscure the less glamorous aspects of gladiatorial life, the hardship of daily training, the nuances of survival, and the stark reality of being part of a calculated entertainment system. While entertaining, they often mask the harsh realities of living in a world where your life was perpetually at the mercy of fate and audiences hungry for spectacle. A mainstream historical fact highlights this duality. Although some portrayals emphasize freedom and personal glory, many gladiators were initially slaves or prisoners of war, thrust into the arena as a means of survival. The tension between these facets of existence presents a rich but sometimes untapped vein of storytelling potential. Modern perceptions are sometimes shaped by these romanticized visions, but within the narratives exist nuggets of truth that offer valuable insights into the essence of being a gladiator. These tales remind us of the human capacity for survival and adaptation, the courage to face overwhelming odds, and the collective power of storytelling to bridge the past and present. Historians and scholars often debate the accuracy of modern depictions, pondering whether these portrayals elevate or dilute the authentic experiences of ancient gladiators. Do they bring us closer to understanding the complexities of that world, or do they craft an idealized fantasy that strays from historical truth? One intriguing debate revolves around the idea of gladiators being seen as celebrities in their time, a notion both supported and contested by various pieces of evidence. This lends itself to imagining how the public figures of ancient Rome might be understood through the lens of contemporary fame. As you reflect on the influence of modern media, consider how these stories continue to captivate hearts and minds, translating the echoes of the past into vivid displays on our screens. They serve not only as entertainment, but as windows into history, inviting viewers to explore and question what it was like to walk in the sandals of a gladiator. As daylight fades and the vibrant exchanges of today's tales give way to the soothing embrace of night, allow yourself to revel in the magic of storytelling's spell. Each narrative, whether factual or fanciful, contributes to the ongoing conversation about the balance between myth and reality, between ancient history and modern imagination. Let these contemplations gently guide you into the realm of dreams, where time and place meld into a tapestry of ideas, rekindling the flames of curiosity that dance within your thoughts. Adrift in this tranquil sea, you find solace in the knowledge that the stories of gladiators, in all their forms, continue to inspire and intrigue, weaving seamlessly into the fabric of our ever-evolving narrative. As you close your eyes and surrender to slumber's call, the shadows of ancient arenas and the whispers of modern interpretations merge into the gentle rhythm of night's quiet song. Together, they form a bridge connecting past and present, a pathway through which dreams take flight, carrying you softly into the embrace of the ancient world, interpreted anew. As dawn's light spills across the ancient stones of the Colosseum, a tantalizing exploration awaits. the ongoing scholarly debates that surround the life of gladiators in Roman society. In the shadowy intersections of fact, interpretation, and myth, historians probe complex questions, striving to paint a more nuanced portrait of these iconic figures who straddled the line between admiration and exploitation. Imagine the bustling corridors of academia filled with spirited dialogues as scholars and historians sift through a tapestry of evidence to better understand the lives of gladiators. This academic arena is less about swords and shields and more about words and ideas, questioning every assumption and scrutinizing the delicate lines between documented history and extrapolated mythos. Central to these scholarly deliberations is the crux of what daily life entailed for a gladiator. Was it drudgery, marked by relentless training and lurking mortality, or were there moments of respite and community that imbued this existence with shared humanity? The debate centers around interpreting archaeological findings, remnants of glyptic depictions and ancient texts, steering through the haze of nostalgia to uncover kernels of truth. One spirited scholarly debate involves the exact motivations behind the volunteer gladiators who chose this perilous path willingly. Was the allure of fame and potential freedom so enticing that it outweighed the risks? Or did the structured life within a ludus offer security and purpose to those who felt marginalized in other societal contexts? Historians still argue whether the gladiatorial contests were predominantly pageantry and calculated showdowns, or if they held a deeper symbolic resonance as a reflection of Rome's values and hierarchy. Some scholars posit that the games served as more than entertainment. They were a microcosm of the empire's existential realities, a portrayal of dominance, struggle, and the perpetual dance with death. Additionally, the perception and role of gladiators within Roman society sparks varied interpretations. Were these fighters revered as cultural icons, holding a status akin to heroic athletes, or were they relegated to the margins despite their notoriety? The absence of gladiatorial voices in first-hand accounts complicates these analyses, leaving gaps filled by interpretation and inference. A quirky yet illuminating point of contention lies in the social dynamics within the ludus itself. Some arguments delve into the atmosphere fostered by the Lanisti, whether these were purely transactional environments or if genuine bonds and mentorship developed, creating a semblance of familial structure among gladiators. For you as an observer amidst these debates, the shifting sands of scholarly discourse offer a panoramic view into the mystery and allure of gladiatorial life. Each theory adds a thread to the intricate mosaic, rendering these ancient figures not merely as subjects of spectacle, but facets of a complex and sophisticated culture. As evening falls, casting the Colosseum in a soft, golden glow, reflect on how these scholarly discussions enhance your understanding not only of the past, but of the enduring human need to interpret and connect with history. Whether through ancient artifacts or contemporary discussions, the search for meaning and truth in the stories of gladiators continues to kindle human curiosity. In the quiet that follows, find a comforting rhythm in these historical examinations, allowing them to guide your thoughts gently toward repose. The gentle ebb and flow of academic discourse, like the lapsing waves on a shoreline, beckons you toward the horizon of rest and reflection. And as the night envelops you, the whispered echoes of these scholarly debates wrap around your consciousness, a lullaby of inquisitive minds seeking the symphonic harmony between fact and imagination. Let the tranquility of dreamscapes, shaded by the shadows of gladiatorial past, cradle you, with the quiet assurance that questions continue to mold both present understanding and future explorations. Adrift in this restful sea of thought, you embrace history's enigmatic embrace, knowing well the tenacity of curiosity and the ever-unfolding narrative of the ancient world. Each dream carries you deeper into this timeless exploration, gently winding through the sands of time toward a dawn steeped in both discovery and reawakening. As the gentle rays of the morning sun illuminate the Colosseum's storied arches, your thoughts venture further afield, exploring how gladiatorial culture transcended the borders of Rome to leave a lasting imprint on cultures beyond its fall. This pervasive influence dances through the annals of history, casting new light on the enduring legacy of these ancient warriors. Picture distant lands under the Roman Empire's expansive reach, each absorbing and adapting elements of Roman spectacle. Imagine the echoes of the Colosseum rippling across Europe, weaving into local cultures that blended native traditions with the grandeur of Roman games. The essence of gladiatorial combat found resonance in various societies, each interpretation unique, yet unified by its Roman heritage. In places far from Rome, the concept of staged combat and martial display morphed and evolved. From the amphitheatres of Gaul to the arenas of Britain, gladiatorial competitions were not merely mimicry. They became infused with local flavours, adapted to suit the tastes and traditions of conquered peoples, reflecting a complex tapestry of shared cultural identity. Historians emphasize the importance of these cultural exchanges, illustrating how the motifs of gladiator games influenced the development of entertainment in medieval and modern societies. The enduring images of heroic combats and public spectacles find parallels in jousting tournaments of the Middle Ages and even in modern sports theatricality, where the flair of competition continues to captivate audiences worldwide. A particularly intriguing aspect is the adaptation of gladiatorial imagery in early Christian art and literature, underscoring both the critique of pagan practices and appropriation of its compelling narrative power. The metaphorical struggle between light and darkness borrowed heavily from the symbolic combats of gladiators, serving as allegories, moral tales that resonated within the new spiritual and cultural context. In modern media, echoes of the Roman arena manifest in our cultural psyche, reflected in the archetypes of noble warriors and the compelling drama of battle. Movies, novels, and games breathe new life into these ancient stories, continually reshaping them to reflect contemporary value. This ongoing reinterpretation speaks volumes about the gladiator's enigmatic presence, still capable of stirring imaginations long after their physical presence faded from history. Consider how, as an engaged observer, this cultural evolution offers a broader understanding of humanity's shared heritage. These ancient contests, once limited to Roman arenas, serve as a lens through which we can view the transformation and transmission of ideas across time and space. They remind us that culture is not static, but a dynamic dialogue that molds the present by drawing on the past. Reflect back on your own exploration of gladiatorial culture, recognizing the fluid interweaving of historical events, societal shifts, and artistic renditions that keep these tales vibrant through the centuries. Each culture that inherited the Roman legacy reinterpreted and reshaped it, creating a mosaic of influence that transcends borders, shaping the contours of global narrative landscapes. As evening descends, transforming the Colosseum into a silhouette against the deepening sky, let these reflections guide your thoughts into the gentle embrace of night. The awareness of continuity and change entwines with your perceptions, comforting you with the knowledge of history's lasting connection to the living tapestry of life. In the serenity that follows, permit the quietude of rest to carry you into a world where the ghosts of ancient warriors and the dreams of modern storytellers meld with elegiac grace. Let these echoes of gladiatorial legacy weave through your dreams, inviting you into a journey both timeless and boundless, shared across generations and continents. Within the sanctuary of slumber, find solace in the wisdom whispered by centuries, a reminder that as we traverse the vast expanse of time, the lessons and legacies of the past remain ever present, echoing softly in the heartbeats of history's enduring dance. Rest well, cradled by the soft rhythms of time's gentle current, trusting in the promise of new stories to be told, with each break of dawn. As the first rays of dawn stretch across the sleeping city of Rome, casting their gentle light upon the enduring majesty of the Colosseum, your thoughts turn to the lasting legacy of the gladiators and the enduring lessons their world imparts to us today. Through the passage of time, the echoes of their struggles and triumphs continue to resonate, offering insights into human resilience and the complex tapestry of human spectacle. As you stand before these ancient stones, imagine the whispers of history weaving around you, sharing secrets of survival and spectacle, strength and vulnerability. The gladiators, as much entertainers as warriors, epitomize the paradoxical blend of brutality and beauty, captured in the sands of the arena and the grand narratives spun across centuries. Consider the enduring allure of the gladiatorial legacy. It resides not only in their historic feats etched into the annals of time, but also in the timeless reflections they cast on modern society. The gladiators remind us of our fascination with competition, spectacle, and the stories of those who stand defiant in the face of insurmountable odds. Even today, the legacy of the gladiatorial games offers a canvas upon which we project our own struggles and triumphs, a reflection of the human condition. The archetype of the warrior challenging fate transcends temporality, embodying ideals of courage, tenacity, and resilience that inspire us to face our own battles. Historians and philosophers alike delve into these narratives, constantly seeking to understand why the gladiators captivate our imaginations so potently. Their world, intertwined with ours through fiction and fact, challenges us to consider questions of freedom, power, and morality, prompting reflection on the delicate balance between civilization and savagery. As you reflect on this legacy, recognize the duality mirrored in modern life: the desire for control versus the thrill of unpredictability, the celebration of victory amidst the acknowledgement of vulnerability. These themes, as relevant now as they were then, serve as lasting reminders of the human spirit's ability to transcend and transform. In exploring the gladiators' enduring legacy, we uncover valuable lessons about the nature of humanity itself, its propensity for creation and destruction, its pursuit of meaning and glory, its eternal dance between light and shadow. The gladiators' story, woven into the fabric of history, remains a guiding beacon, illuminating the path of perseverance and hope. With nightfall comes the soothing embrace of reflection, when the day's inquiries surrender to the quietude of introspection. As you prepare to rest, allow these meditations to gently cradle your consciousness, enveloped by the tender whisper of ancient truths and future dreams. In the hushed tranquility of evening, let your thoughts drift into the soft cadence of twilight, where echoes of the past meld seamlessly with the promise of tomorrow. Know that beyond the veil of dreams lies the assurance that history's stories, much like life's ponderings, are cycles of discovery woven within the perennial unfold of time. As you drift into slumber, let the stories of gladiators guide you through the realms of dream, each narrative a thread binding past to present, weaving a comforting tapestry of continuity and wisdom. Find peace in the knowledge that the legacy of these ancient warriors, unbowed by time's passage, continues to inspire and illuminate our journey through the continuum of life's enduring dance. Greater than greater than greater than. End of script. Sweet dreams.